Allison. Thank you for joining me for Where I'm From 230 with Amy. What have you been reading? I read Raising Hair by Chloe Dalton, which is a story of, it's a memoir. Chloe found a wild hair and tried to domesticate it, but she did not. So it's really a story about the wild and refining our relationship with nature. And it's just kind of a sweet book, especially right now. Here's it, Raising Hair, Chloe Dalton. I just read Comfort of Crows too by Margaret Rankle, and so it feels like it's kind of in the same family of this like not these like epic nature adventures, but these books about how nature is around us all the time. Because both of these books, it's about nature in their backyards. Granted, Chloe lives out in the country in England, but still, Amy, I've approved you and done all the things, so hopefully soon you will appear. Sometimes happens, which is why I talk about what I read because I don't want to just sit here. um, it says you're unable to join, which sometimes it does that. I don't know. Hopefully you're on your phone because if you're not on your phone, it won't work. Um, if it doesn't work soon, we can start over. So whoever's watching the replay, oh, here you are.
Hi, I'm so sorry. I just had to set something
You
to make
you
it
didn't
go
you didn't do
through.
anything wrong. You have no need to apologize. Sometimes it's just annoying.
Takes a
So,
minute.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me here.
Of
Just trying to get my
course. I'm
camera
so
set up.
excited to have you here. I don't always have time to read something from whoever is joining me, but I did have time to read your Pushcart Prize nominated essay yesterday.
Oh, great.
Yeah, and it was
Thank you so
so
much.
beautiful and powerful, and it was interesting because there were parts of it that reminded me of your poem.
Yeah, yeah. I think that kind of maybe cliched saying whatever you write, there you are kind of
Yeah.
thing is always it just applies. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We kind of keep returning to certain things. I think, particularly when we're processing them,
Hmm.
actively processing them, it helps me. I often write about things, and um, it's interesting because I write one of these poems every year on my birthday, which was
Hmm.
last week,
Yeah, I
and
watched it.
oh, you did?
It
Oh,
was
thanks.
great. Thank you. Yeah.
And it's a kind of a challenge. Like, oh, I'm going to write about
Hmm.
something different,
Hmm.
and not kind of. And so this year I wrote about my life now, which I don't write about very much, and it was fun because I'm much
Yeah.
happier now than I was when I was a kid.
Right. It's nice to have that experience.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like it's nice to reflect on well, where things can go.
Right. Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is a nice
So
thing about, I guess, oh, sorry, to be
oh,
a
you
to
go.
be a writer is you can always return to these topics and they're always different. I feel like year after year.
They are for sure. I think even when you revise something that you wrote even a year ago, it's like, oh,
Hmm.
I felt like this then,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Hmm. Definitely.
Um, so would you like to read your poem or you have anything you want
Yeah.
to share before you do?
No, I'm ready whenever you are.
Okay, go for it.
Um, Thank you. Yeah. Um, I'm from Lunchables and Capri Suns and Dixie cups with the wooden spoon. From TGIF TV, Saturday morning TV, after school TV. I'm from home videos. Why is the red light flashing? I'm from cats and dogs. Katie, Jack, Lucky, Sasha and Ginger and Molly. All gone now. I'm from public school. Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. One day of sex ed. Falling asleep in fifth period. Internet safety and any excuse to get out of gym. From wanting so hard to belong. I'm from countries which no longer exist. From a history erased. From at least the streets were made of gold. Born of Jersey summers, swaddled in a muggy embrace, raised on Jewish Christmases, a blonde angel topping the tree. For my mother is God, but God isn't real. I'm from being fresh will earn you a slap, from justice and fear, all or nothing, from knowing, far too early, the sins of men. I'm from take your child to work day and dare to keep the kids off drugs. I'm from telling you what's wrong with you is just trying to help. I'm from Barbie dolls and baby dolls, from being a mother is the ultimate sacrifice, from walking in her shadow, stretched back so far, I disappear. I'm from speech class with Mrs. Hall to fix my rhoticism, rainbow, wrong, right, rescue. I'm from if I talk enough, maybe someone will hear me. From temper tantrums, the calm after the storm, which was never really calm. From bullying, both sides. From doctor scales, counting calories, counting points, counting sizes, each year, throwing out clothes that no longer fit. I'm from an unbreakable family bond I've strained, tugged, nearly torn, but never broken. I'm from an umbilical cord that was never cut, from smiley eyes and adults with so much love trapped inside. 4 generations of women tethered together by anger. From my cup runneth over, never knowing when to say when. Thank
That
you.
was amazing. I
Thanks
was
so much.
really struck reading it, like, because you're much younger than me, but so much of that was like, I don't know, it felt like my childhood. It's
Yeah.
surreal how I
Mhm.
lived through many of those things as like a 20-year-old, but it was like, oh
Mhm.
yeah, Lunchables and Capri Suns and TGIF and all of that.
Yeah. Mhm.
Um, but I loved, oh, I was like, wanted to say it exactly how you said it, but like telling you the truth. What was it that you said?
Um, telling you what's wrong with you is just trying to help you. Is
Yeah,
that one? Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I think
yeah,
that could be a universal quality
yeah.
for a lot of families.
Yeah,
Mhm.
when I was in Al-Anon, when I started, I remember one of the things that they said was unsolicited advice is criticism.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I
Yeah.
was like, oh yeah, that's what it is. Nobody asked.
Right. Right. And yet so much of, yeah, right. The Al-Anon experience, the
Yeah,
family experience
yeah,
is just trying to navigate boundaries that
hmm,
aren't, I think
yeah,
most of the time from my experience talking with people is there's not a lot of healthy boundaries in place for families. So how do we
yeah.
kind of navigate those waters?
Yeah, and also I think the resentment, I don't know if your anger is at
Mhm.
all the anger that you reference in the end and in the essay
Mhm.
I read, is this sort of exhaustion of always needing to navigate boundaries.
Mhm.
Like I just want to break from the
Mhm.
boundaries. Can you
Right.
just not?
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, and then how do you do that when this has been decades in the making, right,
Mm,
with the
yeah,
same people? So I think it's just a universal struggle, and it's it's something that as someone who writes memoir and I teach memoir and I obviously read a lot of memoir,
yeah,
it's in every memoir. Is
yeah,
how do we deal with these boundaries that weren't respected when we were younger and maybe even now?
yeah, yeah. And I just and then obviously do you want to talk a little about your forthcoming memoir? Congratulations, by the way.
Yeah, thank you so much. It has been a long time coming.
I
Well, I
mean, I
did
think it
say
almost always is. Like
it
you
is, and
rarely
it's
hear like, oh, it was so easy, I just wrote it and then I sold it and that was
no,
it.
no. But even just you're like, oh, I finally got the deal, and everyone's like, well, it's still going to take a couple of years, to
Mhm.
come out. So,
Yeah, yeah.
but yeah, it's been an amazing experience. I was always a big journaler, I would say.
Mhm.
And I've always been attracted to memoir. And going through the treatment experience, first having weight loss surgery as a teenager, and then ending up in a treatment center for eating disorders when I was 25. And this is really the where the book starts, to give a spoiler,
Mhm.
but is kind of figuring out what happened, how did I get here, which I think
Mhm.
is again, you don't have to have my specific experience
Mhm. Mhm.
to eventually get to an age where you're wondering, how did
Mhm.
I end up in this space, especially with an experience that's mine that might be somewhat unique, where this was supposed to fix everything, right? The
Yeah.
surgery was supposed to fix everything,
Yeah.
and then suddenly it didn't. And so it was really going back and kind of really examining kind of the dysfunction, not just in my immediate family and society,
Mhm. Mhm.
looking even extended family, grandparents, and so on, and trying to see how can I not repeat those mistakes.
Mhm.
So that's, I've been working on revisions now, which has been,
Mhm.
um, a little stressful, but,
Yeah, for sure.
but I'm really excited. I really hope this is a book that, people of any who've had any experience, not necessarily has to do with weight or body, that can relate to, because so much of it is, you kind of get to the point and you're saying, oh wait, maybe my parents, that wasn't so great what they did, or
Mhm.
maybe that we could have done something, we could have made different choices, and kind of coming to terms with, well, you can't go back and change that, but what can you do now?
Yeah, and I think it's such an important
Mhm.
conversation because, I mean, I think probably anyone can relate to it, but I think particularly women can relate to it
Mhm.
because I think in general, like lots of people just like us to get smaller and smaller and
Mhm.
disappear, if
Mhm.
possible. So it's like, and now we see it with GLP-1s and like
Mhm.
all of, like, we had a body positivity moment
Mhm.
and now it's gone.
Mhm.
And um I just think of like this idea that starving us and making us think about our appearance constantly is such a powerful way to shut us up. And
Mhm.
so I just think like any conversation around that is worthwhile to have.
Mhm.
Even if you haven't had this exact experience that you've had, I think we've all experienced something where
Right. Right.
the
And I think just, yeah, so it's just being bombarded, now, when I was growing
Mhm.
up, we didn't have social media, and thank God for it, because I don't know how, younger, children, adolescents deal with it now, because it's, and all, children of all genders, right? It's just
Mhm.
constant bombardment
Mhm.
of this is how you should look, or this is how
Yeah.
you should be, and this is how you should act. And it's no wonder that there's, on top of everything else in the world, just a lot of stress and anxiety.
Yes, for sure. I mean, it's real. And I just I like seeing how like this poem can be a little mini memoir, and
Hmm.
then you talking about your book and the things that you referenced in your poem about counting calories and portions
Hmm.
and all of that, and
Hmm.
that's a through line to your memoir. Um,
Right. Mhm.
did you find that you found that you went to a different place with the poem, or did it feel pretty much in line with your memoir and what you talk about there?
It's hard if, because the reality is I've been in some iteration working on this for at least 8 years.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to get away with it, which is probably why I'm struggling with revisions. You kind of see it
Hmm.
in one light, and now you have to
Yeah.
kind of see it in a different light.
Yeah.
Because this was so much, about childhood. And by the way,
Yeah.
I am so excited to find your page and everything, because
Oh,
I love this poem.
oh, yeah.
And I've used it myself as a teacher in exercises for memoir, and I
Yeah,
just
you
think it's
said
such a
that.
great, yeah,
It,
yeah, such a great accessible way to kind of jump into to your childhood. So yeah, so
mhm.
since this was my childhood, a lot of these the ideas have been around, but
Yeah.
it was really fun being able to word them in a different way and really play with language and how
Hmm.
much impact can I get in such a short time.
Hmm.
And so that was a really fun experience for me.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun too sometimes to do the thing that you teach,
Yes.
to make
Mhm.
space for that because lots of
Mhm.
times we're just sharing it. And that's like
Right.
sort of why I do it once a year because I'm not teaching
Mhm.
it, but I'm talking about it. It's like, oh, I should take time to experience it because it gives
Definitely.
us a different, and yeah, I was actually talking to George Ellie yesterday and I
Yeah.
just her poem and she's wonderful. She's
Yes.
such a gift. Like this
Right.
whole experience has been such a gift for me because of
Right.
that and so many other reasons. But any other thing you'd like to say about I thought your poem was wonderful and
Oh, thank you so much.
yeah, it sort of I liked how it took us through the mundane to this,
Hmm.
like these details that are specific, but also kind of like ones we can all relate to then into the real specifics of your narrative. And then the four generations, that resonates so strongly with me because
Hmm.
myself, my mother, and her mother
Hmm.
certainly have grappled with this idea of hysteria. And,
Hmm.
it's been weaponized against all of us. And I think, I think that intergenerational, like, it's cool to see how that's being acknowledged now in a different way
Hmm.
than it ever has been before. But I do think we carry these stories in us.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree. And I think definitely with women, I mean, I was fortunate up until I was around 10 or 11, I had my grandmother and her mother. So I had my great grandmother.
Yeah, I meant to say
Um,
mention that.
yeah, so
Yeah,
yeah. So just the four, four of us,
yeah,
and it was, kind of this anger and sometimes abuse and violence
yeah.
carried through. And learning, it's not a surprise then when the daughter does it or the mother,
Hmm.
But coming from as a child, since I was the youngest, obviously of this, really learning, how this came to be, because as a child you don't have that capacity. I don't think you have that capacity to really ask, well, why are they like this, right? Or you wouldn't think to ask that. And so it wasn't until years later, obviously after they passed, that I really could dive deep into their histories, and see that, it's just everything's just a breeding ground for more of the same, right? And we could
Hmm.
stretch that out to what's going on in the world now. And
Hmm.
it's until we really, I think, really process it and slow down and find ways, sustainable ways to stop this. That's the only way we can stop these kind of generational traumas, or,
Hmm. Hmm.
global traumas as well.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, and
Yeah.
systemic traumas. Like they're
Hmm.
all this kind of related. And I
Right.
think too when you're a child, I mean, you don't even know it's weird or
Right.
not
Exactly.
like everybody else is like that. I so acutely remember when I did start to realize like, oh, this is
Hmm.
not like we're the weird ones. And
Right.
this is not how other people's families are. Um and then also then getting past that and into sort of the weeds of it. Like,
Right.
because at first it's just like, oh, I'm different.
Hmm.
This isn't the way other people, and then it's like, well, what does that mean to me? How
Hmm.
does that
Right.
affect the way I live my life and the way that I interact with people? And, because that's like, it's like beginning, intermediate, advanced.
Hmm.
Beginning is just like, oh, sure.
Yeah.
Like I was so in Amy's essay, she talks about a moment where she witnesses her grandmother
Hmm.
hit her great grandmother. And
Hmm.
I just thought of like how that's so I can't even imagine how that affected you because it's
Hmm.
so vulnerable and personal and also so
Hmm.
upside down. Like it's
Right.
not how we think
Right.
of it being. Although I think as people age, can be this return to lacking power the way a child can lack power.
Hmm.
Um, but you wrote about it so well and just kind of those moments that you'll never forget unless you
Right.
totally dissociate and forget them
Right.
until later,
Be nice sometimes,
which
right?
also happens. So I always feel like
Yeah.
there's a caveat with moments you never forget, unless of course you forget them entirely because you
Right.
can't
Right.
remember them. Um,
Right. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Yes, thank you so much again. And I just wanted to say I've watched a bunch. I couldn't watch all 229
really,
before this,
me
but I
neither.
watched a lot of them. And it was just yeah, right. It was
Yeah,
so great. I mean, everyone's poem was so different in some
yeah.
ways, and people took a lot of risks with structure and language, and it was really fun to kind of have this moment with these people that are for better or worse are strangers. Oh, I think you froze.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sorry. My
yeah.
phone is doing things, even though it's on
Oh, okay.
silent. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
okay. That's okay.
I
Yeah, yeah,
had it
yeah.
on. But you
I
were
wasn't
saying
sure if I
something
should.
very lovely about all
No,
the
I was just saying
poems.
each person has a very, their own style, and it's almost like in these net, in these 15, 20 minutes, you can really, it's amazing how much you can get to know someone in such a short amount of time through these
Yeah.
poems. Hmm.
Yeah. And I think for me, hopefully, I'm reading this book right now that I think I'm going to talk about like separately because it's so
Hmm.
powerful called Girls Play Dead. I don't know if you've read it.
Oh, yes,
It's,
I just bought it and I
oh my
haven't, I
God.
think I have to read
We
it.
should
I
have a
know.
book club about it, Amy, because I need
That'd be
someone to
great.
talk to
Yeah.
about it because it's like,
It's heavy,
it's
you know.
really
Yeah.
heavy, but it's also
Yeah.
like so validating
Right.
and I feel like it's centering victims.
Hmm.
Like so many of the conversations that are happening right now around Epstein, it's very still kind of
Hmm.
this like centering the perpetrators
Absolutely.
and
Hmm.
this sort of voyeuristic like what a bunch of monsters as opposed to
Hmm.
like what it's like for them,
Yes.
for the people who live through it.
Right.
Um, so she talks about in there just like listening to stories because a lot of
Hmm.
it are interviews and how one of the women says like it changed my life that you listened to me,
Hmm. Yeah.
that you cared enough
Uh-huh.
to listen. And I think that we don't actually give enough space. Like listening matters. Telling someone their
Hmm.
story matters, and your story
Uh-huh.
does, and mine does, and all 230 of these. And it's something that,
Mhm.
like, it makes me feel better every time I engage with it. So,
Yeah, yeah, agree.
but I'm
Yeah, we
serious
just
about the book club, Amy.
no, yes, I know. I've been so swamped. I didn't even have time
Yes,
to read
yes,
anything. But I think again, yet not even listening, but believing. And I know,
yes, yes, of
and I
course.
wrote an
Yes.
essay that will be in my manuscript. You know, my mom was the chief prosecutor of sex crimes and child abuse, so I
Oh my
grew up hearing
goodness.
these stories.
Oh my
And
God.
even, for better or worse, the way the law is set up, it's innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah,
So the
yeah,
default is these victims will always be doubted.
yeah.
Um, and so how do we, again, we deal with that in a world, and this is where we're left,
Hmm.
so,
Yeah. And this book
um,
is such an important piece of
right,
that, like talking about what tonic immobility is and what
hmm,
freezing is, and like that
right,
this is so that, and she talks about that, like that it
hmm,
is from a legal perspective, trying to give
right,
victims more space just
right,
because victims aren't responding in a way that feels plausible for your narrative of what victims should behave like,
right,
you know? I
right.
mean,
The perfect victim, right?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is
Hmm.
interesting because I don't know that if you've, this is a tangent, everyone, if you, but
No,
I don't know if you've read the book Is Rape a Crime by Michelle Boldler, but
I haven't. No.
she
Yeah.
is, obviously she's positing that the way we treat it, it must not be a crime. Because
Yeah.
we rarely prosecute and people are rarely found guilty.
Yeah.
And she truly was kind of the perfect victim.
Hmm.
And reading that book and reading what she went through and reading about her journey as an activist,
Hmm.
I found it very healing because I think so often we do that narrative of the perfect victim gets in the
Hmm.
way of a lot of healing. It's
Right.
like, well, if I had this, then maybe people would.
Right.
I'm like, no,
Right. Right.
no,
Right. Yeah,
no.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, that's what I feel like we all need to change, especially today.
Yeah,
What we're going through
yeah,
is moving the camera in the direction, directions of those who have been victimized and listening more to their stories and
yeah.
not automatically going to, well, that didn't align with your story you told 10 years ago. Well, of course it didn't.
Right.
Memory is changes. So, yeah,
Right, right.
yeah.
Or even the way you told it when you were
Hmm.
talking to a different person.
Right, right. There's so much.
Like, this is the
Yeah.
most traumatic thing potentially this person has ever
Hmm.
experienced. They're
Hmm.
taking the temperature of everyone in the room that they're talking to. It's incredibly
Yeah,
vulnerable.
yeah, yeah. So I
They
have to
don't
start
feel
understanding
safe.
now. Yeah, yeah,
Like,
exactly. Yeah.
they don't feel safe.
No,
So,
no.
yeah, anyway, email me when you
That,
read it.
yes,
Because I'm like gonna talk to everyone about it. They'll be
I
like,
have to get it. I'm gonna have to read it. Yeah, I have to finally read it. I
oh
know. It's
gosh,
also heavy, in today's world, but I will
I
start
know,
reading it.
I know.
So,
In
yeah.
some way it has felt like sort of like counter programming to all because
Okay.
I can spiral a little bit about the Epstein stuff, like I
Yeah,
can read
same.
too
Hmm.
much, and I think because this centers the victims and their
Hmm.
experiences, it feels a little bit like counter programming, like, oh,
Right.
this is important,
Yeah.
this book is important,
Hmm.
but no pressure to read it. You have to take care of you. You're doing a revision right now.
That's
You have to
a
do
million
whatever
things,
you have
but
to do to
I
just
have
like
it. I
do
bought it
it.
because I was so excited. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. But I
yeah.
will email you and let you know my
Yes,
thoughts.
yeah. So I just
Um,
want to thank you for joining me,
Thank
Amy. I
you.
really
Yes.
enjoyed this conversation and
Thank
your
you.
poem, and I look forward to reading your book. I'm sure I'll
Oh,
love it.
thank you so
So,
much. Well, I appreciate everything you do. I think it's making a contribution. I think it's
yeah,
opening a world for people to really, as you said, some people think, oh, my childhood, it wasn't that important. Who
yeah,
wants to hear about it? But
yeah,
it is.
yeah.
So I think you're contributing to that. So thank you so much for including me.
Oh, yes, it's my pleasure. And someone asked where you can get the copy of the prompt. I'm assuming you can DM me and I can send
Oh,
it to you.
I think that's,
Or
yeah,
you,
George Ella Leon's just her poem I use as a prompt.
oh, yes,
Yeah, that's right.
you can
Yeah.
find her poem on her website. You can find the prompt
Mhm.
if you Google it, or you can DM me if you
Mhm.
are having trouble finding any of these things. So, thank you, Amy. Thank you,
Thank
everyone who joined
you.
us. And
Thanks.
keep going.
Right. You as well. Stay safe.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.